Hey there.
All clean. I'm only sweet. And
You'll never live
to see.
before.
If there's one thing we love in Plainview, it's drummies. You know, those chicken wings, the one Mayor Roy outlawed last year? Well, most of the city gave up on drummies pretty easily. Some of us couldn't go a day without drummies. May I please have just one drummie? No, I don't care if drummies aren't good for you. I want some right now. Of course, when there's any sort of rule, the kids at my school try to break it right away, and it got so bad they had to check our bags for drummies. Drummies detected. After Teddy Cadwell was expelled for hiding drummies in his locker for a month, we all just kind of figured that was it. No more drummies. That's when I learned about the underground drummie scene from Albert Sandy at lunch. The story was that some kids who worked at the grocery store stole a box of drummies and copied the recipe to make their own and got rich. He said that if we wanted to be rich as well, we should start selling our own drummies. Well, long story short, that's my backstory. I'm Greg Heffley, drumming master of Plainview Middle School. It isn't easy being a top drumming maker in Plainview. Thankfully, I have all that I need, a place to cook, my Uncle Gary's old trailer, and a business partner, my buddy Rowley. Not even 6 seconds after he perfected the recipe that fateful day, we had a visitor. Thankfully, we were able to hide in the bathroom until Meckley went away, and that was when I found a note taped to our door. No drummies on our land. We cook here. Catch you again. We call him Mr. Alfredo. I didn't know who Mr. Alfredo was, and I really didn't want to find out. That was when it hit me. I wasn't the only drummer maker in our area. Anyway, business went on for a while. Some idiot had tried using a regular drummie box to hide theirs in, so we knew that we had to get creative if we wanted to remain undetected. At first, we tried using people to smuggle our drummies places, but we learned pretty fast that was a bad idea. Head stuffed with drummies. The part we didn't think through is that chicken would smell in a costume all day. Needless to say, our first attempts failed. Now, do you know who did have the transport game down pat? Leland, of all people. Turns out those anime books had come in handy. Leland's not my only competition in Plainview. In fact, more and more drummie dealers are popping up daily. Of course, most of these people are idiots who got caught their first day. Thankfully, someone was able to assassinate the last big ring in Plainview, which allowed me and Rowley to rise to the top pretty quick. Ruba! Even though we had made it to number one, I knew if we needed to stay there, we would need some serious help. Thankfully, I know a guy, Peter Tonibus, who runs the Papa Tony's chain. Tuesday. Last night I went to Papa Tony's right around close to try to get some help from Papa Tony. Let's just say it didn't go well. Please, Papa Tony, I really need your help with this. I'm sure someone who's been in the drummies business this long, such as yourself, would understand. Do you know how I managed to stay in the game so long, Mr. Heffley? I'm not sloppy. You've been very sloppy so far. That Jefferson kid will be your downfall. Sloppy? I'm not sloppy. I have 20 drummies in the car. I can bring you just to try one. You'll see that helping me will be worth the time. Please, you and me are pretty much the same. We are not the same, Mr. Heffley. You lack any of the skills needed to make it in a drummy game. I refuse to waste my time with a middle schooler who maybe makes $30 a drumming. Your pride will get you killed in this game. Let that be a warning to you. Now get out of here and never say the word drummy near me again. Fine. Be that way. See if I ever buy your Chuck E. Cheese wannabe pizza ever again. With Papa Tony off the list, I decided to suck it up and ask Leland for an alliance. Turns out, he wasn't exactly in favor of helping me either. Oh, and Greg, if you ever think of coming here again, you will die. Realizing I had no choice, I called Rowley and told him we were on our own. Rowley, we need to cook now. Wednesday. Holy shit, this is getting ugly fast. Rowley and I had an order for 500 drummies, which would have made us $300,000, so we charged 60 a wing, not 30 like Papa Tony claimed. We arrived at the address, loaded our bags with as many drummies as we could, and headed in. To our surprise, there was nobody in the room except Baby Gibson. I was starting to think this was a prank of some sort until I found a piece of paper. Give Gibson the drummies. Once he has them, I'll give you your money. From Slick. Slick? That name rings a bell, but I can't tell from where, which is a problem. See, rule number one of drummies is, if you don't feel 100% safe, get the F out. I was calculating a plan on how to get out of there without giving Gibson any of our drummies, but also getting our money when, well, what do we have here? Two grown men selling drummies to little old me, which baby knows is highly against the law. It'd be a real shame if baby had to call for. Shit, I should have guessed there'd be sting ops, but I would never guessed we'd be the ones to walk right into one. We were able to make it back to the RV without the police catching on to us, but to be honest, that whole sting had us shook. One slip up and bam, you're in prison. And let me tell you, they don't like drummy dealers in Plainview County Prison. Drummy dummy. That was when Riley suggested we get his dad to protect us from legal trouble. First off, I had no idea Mr. Jefferson was a lawyer. Second, Mr. Jefferson is the last person who needs to know about our drumming business. He'd probably have me shipped off and get Riley off scot-free. Since I wasn't really in the mood to deal with that, I made Riley promise that if I go down, he's coming right down with me. Well, with all that sorted, we just got to work finding an attorney we could afford. I think I found one. Legal trouble? Been there, done that. Gary Goodman. Gotta call Gary, attorney at law. Thursday. While Riley was out last night on a drop, I did some research on Gary Goodman. Turns out, he's got an interesting past. He even did some time in jail for an incident a few years ago. Let's just say he's not allowed within 30 blocks of a middle school. What's the problem? Since that's where Riley and I operate the most. Speaking of Riley, he came back from his run looking absolutely terrified. Riley explained that the drop was going well, and right as he was about to get to the money, Lawrence Hinkey, the renowned hitman known as Uncle Larry, showed up. Guess who's here? Uncle Larry. The only reason Riley made it out was because Larry struck the boiler, which blew up and sent him flying. I told Riley about Goodman, and that seemed to get him back on track, so he set up an appointment with Goodman for tomorrow and got back to work figuring out how to get rid of Larry. We knew that as long as Larry was still out there, no drummy dealer was safe, and even though we were all technically rivals, the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is a friend, comes to mind. If we can get someone to help take out Larry, then who's to say we can't take out two birds with one stone? Friday, after school, when Riley and I got back to the RV to make a huge batch of drummies for Bryce, we found a huge surprise waiting for us. Mom! This whole time I'd been so careful to keep Mom from finding out about our drummy operation, and here she was practically inviting herself in. Greg, you need to stay away from that trailer. There's a ton of illegal drummies in there. I'm trying to call your uncle to get him to confess to having them. Then I'm calling the cops. As easy as it would have been to pin the whole thing on Uncle Gary, I wasn't about to let Mom think he was running my operation. Mom, those drummies are mine. Riley and I have been in business all school year. No need for the cops. Well, that's went as well as I thought it would. Let me get this straight. You and Riley are drummy dealers? Yes, and we've made over 2,500 this week alone. I finally have my own income. Gregory Heffley, you know drummies are illegal. I need to go to the police with this. Jossie once said, respect your friends, but he never said to respect your parents. As Mom dialed the police, my mind was racing. If I surrendered to Mom, I'd be grounded for who knows how long. On the other hand, I'd lose everything if the police got me. Of course you don't become top drummy dealer of Plainview Middle School by being dumb. You have to think fast, and it's exactly what I did. Cook for me. I realized my story wasn't the tightest, but if I got Larry locked up and got us off the hook, then I deserved a Pulitzer. Believe it or not, that worked. Hello, police, a man named Lawrence Hinkey who operates under the name Uncle Larry. Mom told Riley and I to go home, but we had no intention of going home since our meeting with Goodman was in a few hours. In that time, we decided to see Albert, since he was the one who told us about drummies, but he didn't really seem to be in the mood to talk. Listen, Albert, too many people are onto you. 3, 4, 5. 5 named Clive. Clive, get it? Clive? I'll come back later then. I left Albert to whatever he was doing and headed downtown with Riley to meet Goodman at the address he gave us. Is this some kind of joke? After waiting for about 20 minutes, Riley started to worry we'd walked into another sting. Listen, Greg, I know you hired this guy, but I keep feeling like baby Gibson is going to show up again. I'm scared, man. After another 30 minutes passed, Riley had convinced me that we were most likely in danger, and we were about to leave when Goodman finally showed up. Look, I'm a pretty desperate guy and all, but I think I made a bad choice here. Gentlemen, did you know you have rights? The Declaration of Independence says so. Still, I can't get too harsh. We explained our situation to Goodman, and this is how that went. And now my mom, Papa Tony, and Uncle Larry are on my ass. I might have bought some time, but they'll catch up to us eventually. What should we do? Come on, dude. I'm getting nervous over here. Alright, you definitely need to keep the Larry story up with your mom, but for the others, have you considered murder? After he suggested this, Riley and I just left. We went to him to stay out of trouble, not to get ourselves into more. I'll admit I'm scared, if hearing things in class is any sign. Mr. Heffley, did you finish your murder I assigned last night? Monday. Things for me have been, well, shit, since we went with Goodman the other day. Riley was so upset that I hired someone who pushed murder that he actually left the business. No, absolutely not. When it was just us selling chicken wings, I was down. But now, your so-called lawyer is telling us to go against Joshies. Look, Goodman was a mistake, I'll admit. We're not gonna murder anyone, Riley. Honest. Get out, Greg. You're in danger, and I don't want to be in danger for stupid drummies. Now, Riley and I have had our share of fights, drummies or no drummies, but he went too far this time. I gave him a piece of my mind. Riley, who do you think you're talking to? Let me tell you, friend, I'm not in danger. No, I am the danger. I'm not the nerd who answers a knock at the classroom door and gets pantsed. No.
I am the one who knocks.
Even though that speech was awesome, I still had to leave Riley's house. So now I'm on my own. I have a ton of things to do. While keeping up with the drummy business, I've got to find a way to take out not only Uncle Larry, but Papa Tony and the Mingos. But on a positive, I've decided on an alias name. Heffenberg. At this point, who needs rally? Business is booming, and there's nobody to share the spotlight with. I must admit, I gave some extra thought to what Goodman said. If I took out Larry, Tony, or whoever else, I could take the top spot in all of Plainview. I decided to take out Larry first, since as far as I know, he's a nobody assassin, unlike Tony, who I'm fairly certain has goons. So what have you got there, little fella? I've got to say, I'm impressed by how stupid Larry was to stick his face that close to a TNT-laced tattle turtle. Tuesday. Today at school, I was shocked to hear my name over the PA system. Heffenberg, report to Vice Principal Roy's office immediately. First off, I don't know how anyone got my name, or how they were stupid enough to think I'd just stand up and admit that it was me. Remember, rule number one of selling drummies is always be one step ahead. I wanted to investigate this, but like I said, standing up when I heard the name would be stupid. During the class change, when the hall was packed with students, I slipped into Roy's office. Let's just say I was not expecting who I found. Well, hello there, Heffenberg. You took a while to get here. Rowley? What on earth was he doing with Ward, who's one of Leland's goons? My first thought was that Ward was holding Rowley hostage, but then I saw a new tattoo on Rowley's arm. Meaning, honor and chicken. This can only mean one thing. After our big fight, Rowley betrayed me. I can't believe he did this. Riley started to launch into this big spiel about how, in Leland's circle, he was actually treated as a member of the team, not just a punching bag. Right then is when everything went black. I woke up a few hours later, in Leland's hideout. He told me that Riley joined him, and they were able to get info from him and bring down my entire operation. That's it. Everything Riley and I had worked for in the last 4 months, gone. Then Leland said something that chilled me to my core. After taking out all the others, now I get to take out Heffenberg. Well, shit. Tuesday. You probably thought I died at Leland's, didn't you? Well, I'm still here. How did I get out? Well, it's actually kind of funny. Literally, the moment Leland opened the door to kill me, I spotted a little baggie on the floor. Leland went off on this long speech that I didn't really listen to. This gave me time to grab the bag. Chopped nuts. Keep away from Leland. Highly allergic. I totally forgot Leland was allergic to peanuts. I figured one of his goons had left it around by accident. Leland was still rambling about what he'd do when I was dead, so I made my move. Let's just say that bag was accurate. Leland puffed up like a balloon. Now's my cue to run. Ah! While fleeing, I was afraid I was going to run into Leland's goons, or Rowley, but I guess they all took the night off or something, because there was nobody around to stop me. That was the night I boarded a plane for Isla de Corrales, gave Plainview a big old middle finger, and never looked back. I've got to say, this place is a lot nicer now that the island feds aren't after me, since I'm technically now Heffenberg, not Greg Heffley. I've even got my own stand on the beach, and let me tell you, these people eat drummies up like their lives depend on it. Well, now I'm rich, and I can happily thank the day I started baking drummies. You gotta let us go, Dad. The crash wasn't your fault. Haha, good one, Manny.
We robbed and lied and we hurt people. Pretty much lived a low-life kind of existence. But always dreaming of one thing and one thing only.
The big one.
The big one. The big one!
What is the big one?